In this episode of the Second Swing Thoughts podcast, Rory McIlroy has completed the career Grand Slam in what was a wild Sunday finish at Augusta. So we'll discuss our thoughts, break it down. Plus, we have Kevin Kraft joining to discuss his, well, what at the time was his what's in the bag for 2025. Who knows if it's changed since then. But nonetheless, a great episode recapping one of our favorite tournaments of the year. Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahol, the Second Swing Golf, here in the studio for another Second Swing Thoughts podcast with co-host Sean Bauer. Sean, it's the Augusta National, the Masters tournament at Augusta National has been completed. Rory McIlroy finally gets the monkey off his back, wins in what, for me, that's the wildest Sunday of any golf tournament I've ever watched on TV, and all the drama. You had Titan versus Titan in terms of golf with Rory and Bryson. What a show that was.
Yeah, that might have been one of the most stressful rounds of golf I've watched.
Yeah.
And not that, I like Rory McIlroy. It's not like I'm a huge, I'm not always rooting for him as if when Tiger was playing, I was always rooting for Tiger, right? But just the fact that he was in position after everything he went through, at Pinehurst last year, you wanted him to do it. One, to just win a major again because it's been 11 years, but two, the chance to kind of become part of golf immortality with the career Grand Slam. And everything that happened on Sunday was just, it was chaos from the very first hole. It was just stressful. And I think if you talk to just about anyone out there, everyone, the roller coaster of emotions you felt was just unusual.
Yeah, I think my first wish, so to speak, was to have an entertaining Sunday, which we certainly did. Now, if you go to maybe the 9th or 10th hole that day, we kind of thought we were looking at another sort of runaway, nothing crazy on the back nine finish. And it's been that way for several years now. When Scotty's won, when Rahm kind of flipped the script on Brooks there in 2023, we haven't had that crazy Sunday since Tiger in 2019. And then 13 happens. And suddenly things got really interesting with Justin Rose, of all people, making a serious run. It was crazy. And one thing I wanted to note is that McIlroy, I believe I saw this, is the first winner of a major in this decade, so since 2020, to lose strokes putting for the week. And that just goes to show, well, A, how poorly and how many missed short putts he had on Sunday, but also how just he overpowered Augusta with his tee shots, with his iron game especially. Crazy ball striking work by McIlroy this week, and he'd hit just enough really good shots to get her done. Yeah,
and he was the first, 4 double bogeys for the tournament.
That was the whole thing about Augusta, is you don't make double bogeys and win the Masters.
Craig Stadler's the only one who'd had multiple double bogeys and won. And he already had that going into the final round, and then he's just for good measure, added 2 more.
Right.
It was. Yeah, his putting, obviously, he made some putts here and there. I think before he got to 13, he made a good par on 11 there. Made a good putt on 17 to stay one up. That's pretty crazy to think. He was so good with every other part of his game that his putting, even though it was, losing strokes to the field, still able to win. His driver, maybe not so much on Sunday, but on Saturday, that had to be one of the best displays of driving I've ever seen. He steps up to the 1 tee box, 371 over the bunker. You don't see anyone do that.
I'm going to kind of relate this back to, we actually filmed some content yesterday with Jake Montgomery. If you've watched the YouTube channel, you know who he is. Actually, he got to go down to Augusta last week, which was really cool. But he mentioned during our testing that there was one particular club that he hit that he wasn't very confident with, and his swing speed actually went down on TrackMan. He was a couple miles an hour lower, and it reminded me of Rory's comment before, or he mentioned on Saturday before the round that he had an extra 3 or 4 miles an hour of swing speed on the driving range at Augusta, with his launch monitor. And so he knew that bunker on 1 was out of play, and that's where he smashed it 370, and just cleared that bunker without a problem, right? Had some confidence, had shot 66 Friday, another 66 Saturday. Come to Sunday, he also had said he was unbelievably nervous, not as confident, finds that bunker right away on one. And so it's just kind of I wanted to just point that out as confidence and swing speed are related there. He was clearly feeling some adrenaline, feeling some confidence on Saturday. That bunker wasn't even a thought for him. Sunday, he finds it right away because he's just not quite comfortable in comparison to Saturday anyway.
Yeah, and he kind of said, that his that double bogey on one kind of helped calm his nerves.
Yeah.
It probably did. I think what really turned his round around was Bryson took the lead on 2. And then it was like all of a sudden, like, I don't know if it's just the nerves are gone, the pressure, whatever. It's like, because then on 3, he misses short left and makes a great, I think that's one of the most underrated shots, his chip on 3.
Yeah.
To get, you have no green to work with. You're going up a slope. You can't go long. He bumps it into it, runs it on, makes the birdie. Bryce ends up bogeying, and then all of a sudden he kind of looked like Rory McIlroy for a little bit there, and he didn't have to hit his driver for a few holes. Then he goes to 4, puts it close. 5, he's able to scramble on there. 6, another good shot. But I thought that shot on 3 was very important. And confidence is everything. And I don't know how you maintain any confidence when you 3-jack a green for double bogey that shouldn't have been a 3-jack. I mean, he just hammered his par putt way past it, and then. And that's been his knock, is his putting has always been his knock. So
yeah, it's almost as if he, over all these years, right? I thought I saw the stat where he hadn't held a solo 54-hole lead in a major since he won one back in the day in 2014. He had maybe been tied for the lead at one point in one of them, but the solo lead was a new thing for him, and he's been used for years to be chasing leaders at these majors. So maybe there was a comfort level there for him that, okay, Bryson's got the lead. I can go back to my free swinging, aggressive style play. And also it helped that Bryson kind of fell back a little bit and had some struggles there of his own. So
yeah, I'd say that'd be my only knock on Sunday was that Bryson just didn't play up to his level.
Yeah.
But even if you watch the round on Saturday, his approach game was just off. I mean, he was making incredible up and downs. When he was making birdies, they were long putts. Besides one of the par 5s that he had hit nearly into, he's just off the edge on 15 there. But most of his birdies, the one on 18, the one on 1 on Saturday, I mean, those were long. You're not thinking of making those putts. He never really put the ball really close that signaled that, he was on his A game compared to when you watched him at Pinehurst.
yeah,
Obviously those greens are a little different, but he was attacking the hole and he was in control of his game. So I thought that was the only disappointing part is that he didn't have his A game, and I know he's, super disappointed, but that would have been the only thing that could have made Sunday any better if Bryson was right there too with Rory and Justin Rose, who, I mean, you want to talk about a guy who just showed incredible class after, it's got to be another. I mean, that's 2 times he's lost in a playoff at Augusta. Obviously devastating, barely missed his putt on the playoff hole. But the way he kind of handled that, I think more people should celebrate that too.
Yeah.
Because that was pretty cool to hear him just kind of reflect on the moment, what it meant for Rory, what it meant for golf, but also, acknowledge his own disappointment.
I think that's going to go down as one of the most underrated rounds in the history of the tournament, is Rose entering the day 7 down, making 10 birdies to force a playoff. And he ends up not winning, and for a lot of people, it's going to be kind of forgotten, but unbelievable to even force Rory's hand at all there when no other challenger really got quite close enough to Rory to make that happen. So kudos to Justin Rose for that strong showing. Obviously, now Rory becomes, to me, the greatest European golfer of all time, and he's got a lot of golf left. So what a phenomenal tournament. It lived up to its billing for sure.
Yeah, obviously only European to win the career Grand Slam. Then you factor in all of his other wins. You factor in his Ryder Cup performances. Pretty hard to beat in terms of that. And now he's he's a top 10 golfer of all time. I mean, you win a career Grand Slam.
Yep.
You're only one of 6 people ever to do it. That certainly puts you into a different, stratosphere.
I think he's got more majors coming.
Now it's how far can he keep climbing up that list. And I think for me, it's kind of, he had an 11-year drought between majors, 2014 to 2025. Tiger Woods had an 11-year drought. Obviously, Tiger had injuries and stuff, but I just have a feeling that he finally got that monkey off his back. He won a major again. He's back on top. He's playing the best golf in the world right now. I know Scotty Scheffler is still probably the best golfer on the planet, but in terms of their game right now, at this moment, it's Rory. And then you factor in that he gets to the next major, the PGA Championship, is at Quail Hollow, a place that he's won at 4 times. And now the pressure is off, right? He completed the career Grand Slam. He ended his major drought. He's playing great golf. Now he can just go out and play. And I think, we saw Scotty have quite a season last year. Rory is off to, a similar start. He's got a Players, he's got a Masters, and then he won at Pebble Beach. Scotty had a couple more victories there. He ended up winning this following week, which Rory isn't playing in here at RBC Heritage. But I think we're in store for, potentially a two major season and kind of an all-time great season from Rory, which, I know he had 2, 2014 or 2015 that he won 2? 2014. Yeah. Wouldn't have been 2015. But, I think
the floodgates might be open for him. We'll see. It does seem like there's been just something at all these majors, especially Augusta, where that has been almost like a cloud hanging over him. But with that gone now, nobody's hitting the ball tee to green for sure better than him right now.
Yeah.
So
and I think, I know Scotty Scheffler is the best golfer in the world, but I think on Sunday we were treated because we had the 2 biggest stars in golf in the final group. Because I think Bryson and Rory both have a little more star power than Scotty. That's just their personalities, the style they play.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've all had a lot of success, but just the media attention they get. Scotty's just such a humble guy that I don't think he's still a star, but I think in terms of star power, those 2 have it. So great for golf to have that. Great for golf to have Rory McIlroy back on top, making history. What a weekend.
Yeah. Augusta delivers once again. Also, last point I'll make, I love how this tournament, it just seems like the best of the best rise to the top of the leaderboard. You look at even outside the top 5, top 10, just looking at the top 20, it's just star after star, really good player after really good player, no matter what tour they're on. They make the cut, and then they rise to the top during the weekend. Really good stuff. We got to talk about, we can quickly go through Rory's bag. We've done it already several times this year, but, he's got the QI10 driver, which we got some content on that coming here soon at Second Swing, so stay tuned. The QI10 Fairy Woods as well. He's got the P760 4-iron, and then his sort of blade prototype Rory irons from TaylorMade that are very similar to the P730 from back in the day. Milled grind 4 wedges, and then that Spider Tour X putter was kind of a unique finish to that as well. But
his bag's kind of becoming like Scotty's last year, where it's it's just racking up so many wins, you're almost getting it memorized by now.
Right. We're kind of we don't need to say the whole thing by all the details anymore. Also, we had our picks. So if you were tuning in last week, Sean and I did a little Masters fantasy draft, and Sean destroyed me.
I got some redemption after that Players debacle.
Yeah, so obviously it helps that you had McIlroy, you had DeChambeau, and you had Ludwig Oberg. So those 3 carried you quite a bit. The final tally with Sean's team was 19 under par, and mine was 3 under par. So it wasn't really it was never close after probably Friday afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, having Rory and Bryce in there pretty much, finished it.
Yeah.
It was pretty much over with those 2 especially going into Sunday. So, yeah, it was a good win. We'll do another one, PGA Championship coming up, so...
Yeah, the one hope I had was if Lowry went low on Sunday. But he instead decided to shoot 81. So that changed things for me. But one last thing, too, we got to get to before we get Kevin on is the R7 Quad mini driver. So this is something that I commend TaylorMade. I don't know if there was any leaks to this out there. Usually these releases, there's a leak or 2 that comes to the fruition on social media if you follow the right accounts, right? But this was something that we did some testing on. It's awesome, and it also has that nostalgia of TaylorMade's mid-2000s brand look and feel. And then again, the R7 Quad itself was a really transformative driver with that movable weight technology. That was a big deal back then, and so they brought that back with the R7 Quad Mini. This is a really good one for me. I think they've nailed it with this. Yeah,
I think I saw My Golf Spy mention it, and I kind of agree. everyone's making mini drivers, but TaylorMade's having the most fun with it.
Yeah, that is a great way to put it.
I think that's like right on brand because I mean they came out obviously with their burner and then the burner copper, and now they've done the R7, and they're kind of going back to stuff that was very, very successful for them. Has, like you said, that nostalgia to it, and then just incorporating some modern technology into it. And obviously the R7 with its 4-weight system was pretty revolutionary back in its day, and still able to incorporate some of that text with some modern looks, some other modern features, like twist face and, the speed pocket and whatnot. But yeah, I think they knocked it out of the park in terms of just making it something stand out. And I just enjoy that they're having a little fun with it.
Yeah.
So kudos to TaylorMade on that. It looks really cool. I know you tested it with Tyler Fitzel, and I know we got some cool content coming up with that and some other mini drivers.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. They're just having the fun with it. And I actually remember I was fortunate enough to step into TaylorMade HQ several years ago, and they have a particular kind of a glass. At the time, they had like a glass encasing of some of their most iconic, club releases over the years, just sort of on display, right? And it's almost like they're just going to this glass case, be like, all right, what's our next mini driver? There's burners, copper, now R7. So you wonder what's next there. But it's you're right. It's really cool what they're doing with it. So, speaking of a player that I believe at the time we did this has a mini driver in the bag, Kevin Kraft. So this is always, I think our viewers could love this because Kevin's bag is always, A, it's changing all the time, but B, I think he just loves talking about his clubs as much as anybody does. So Kevin, he's got another year of competition ahead of him, so he's got to get the bag dialed in, and he shared with us what was in it as of, I think, a month ago now, maybe at this point. So, of course, things have changed a little bit, but nonetheless, here's Kevin Kraft going through his bag for 2025. Now welcoming back to the Second Swing Thoughts podcast, it is Kevin Kraft, master club fitter at the Columbia store of Second Swing, professional golfer, U.S. Senior Open qualifier 3 out of the last 4 years. One of the earlier segments we filmed, we did the whole rundown of your credentials. Really good professional player. That's kind of the gist.
Professional tinkerer.
Yes, professional tinkerer of golf equipment. That's what I should have led with this one, because that is what this segment will focus on, is Kevin's tinkering.
Yes.
Kind of. I mean, there was a lot less of that in 2024, which disappointed me greatly. But
well, I mean, look, I switched irons at one point. I finally switched putters toward the end of the year. I did change hybrids, though. I just went to the newer version of the same hybrids.
okay.
Yeah, that was about it, though. So there really wasn't there. I guess there wasn't that much jockeying for position in my bag.
And it's I know 2023 and previous years before that were a lot more tinkering. So anyway, today we're going to talk about what the clubs that Kevin is going to play, or is as of now. As of February 2025 is playing. Yeah. This will air well after we record this. However, you said prior to us hitting record, going live, that this is likely not to change. So if something does change,
I said not likely not to change drastically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drastically. Okay. Well,
drastically.
Depends on how you define drastically. But so let's start at the top.
Okay.
Start at the driver.
Right.
You've been playing Cobra drivers.
Yes.
Does that change this year? Are we in DS Adapt, and which model are we in?
We are in the DS Adapt. I went from Dark Speed X to DS Adapt X.
Mm-hmm.
I did get another Autoflex. So the one that looks like a roll of Lifesavers from last year has been replaced by a bright pink one.
Ah, okay.
So
is that a style choice of yours, or is it just what?
We had one on sale on our website.
Okay.
And I took advantage of that because
you prefer that over the the Lifesavers one?
No, I actually really like the Lifesaver shaft a lot, but I didn't want to spend $800 on a shaft when I only had to spend $500 on a shaft. So
Fair enough.
I'm a bargain hunter at heart.
Oh, hey, same here. Okay.
And they're both bright, so who cares, really? And if I ever really want to make the switch back to the other one, I'll put a adapt tip on it. I can always do that. I just wanted to keep my driver from last year, which was so good for me, intact as a backup.
Okay.
Because you just never know.
Yeah, that's fair. So, speaking of the adapter hosel, do you know what setting of the Future Fit 33 that you've got as of now? I know you're probably going to tinker between now and then, but
I believe I'm on H4.
H4,
right? Okay. Which is 1.4 degrees less loft and flat, i.e., open.
Okay.
About halfway.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're playing. So is it a 9-degree standard?
It is. Yes.
So you're playing it down to almost.
I'm at
7.5, 7.6.
7.6. Yes.
Okay. Low loft.
It's the way you build an Autoflex.
Yeah.
Autoflex builds light, low, and long. So you don't want a heavy head weight. You're looking at D0 to D1 head weight. You want a long build. So I'm all the way at 46 now. I was at just under 46 last year. And then you build them low because they launch high.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the little bit that I've tested or hit Autoflex, I've seen the same thing. So, well, sweet. We got the driver. So we did make a change. I mean, we have a new hosel setting because there's a new hosel.
Yeah, new hosel. Yeah.
And upgrade to the latest from Cobra.
Yeah, just natural progression there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now is where things could get interesting,
Yes.
from what I understand. So you've played a mini driver in the past.
Yes.
You've also been mixing in, 3 woods. So where are we at after driver?
So the mini driver stays, but it is a club that can be pulled situationally.
Okay.
So if I play a golf course that there's really nothing that gives me the willies and I don't need that crutch, then I can pull it out and put a 3-wood in the bag that I can then use to try to attack par 5s. I can still attack par 5s with the mini driver. However, I don't create the trajectory that I do with a higher lofted 3-wood, right? And there are some situations where it can be, if you've got a wall bunker in front of the green, at the front of the green, it is not easy to get an 11.5-degree golf club off the deck to launch high and stop fast. Not really going to happen. So it's a little limiting, but it's also then freeing when it's a tee club. And for me, it's primarily the tee club. Right. I'm more concerned about having it as a tee club. So if I have a course where I need to hit, 3 or more shots with that type of club, I'm probably going to keep it in the bag. Yep. That said, if there's just a couple shots where I potentially could hit it and I feel like, okay, the 3-wood will suffice as the tee club and then I can use it at other sections of the golf course, then I'll put the 3-wood in the bag. Okay.
So the mini driver is this still a TaylorMade burner?
Yes. First gen BRNR.
Yeah. So this is the one from I think a couple years ago now.
Yes.
Okay. And then it's at 11.5 degrees. You said.
Yep.
Okay. So when that's pulled and you put 3-wood in, what's the 3-wood?
So last year I played the Dark Speed LS. I've been testing both the Adapt LS and the Adapt X to good effect. And then I also started testing the Elite. And wow.
Wow is all he says.
Wow.
So are we a little undecided at this point? Well, what the 3-wood will be?
No, not really. I'm not really undecided. I'm pretty decided at
Pretty
this
decided
point.
It's Elite?
Yeah. I mean, I'm carrying it about 6 yards further than any other 3-wood out there. And with 115, 120 feet of trajectory.
Okay.
So the ball's coming in high. It's flying long. It's coming in high and soft. So
what else do you
that's
need?
exactly what I want.
Yeah.
So I have not made any moves to procure one yet,
Right.
but there will be moves.
This is
made.
testing in the bay,
Correct,
essentially.
Correct.
Okay.
And I feel a little guilty because, you know, I did have a really good year with the fairway wood last year with Cobra, and I like to play as much Cobra product as possible. They've been absolutely incredible to me, so I try to keep as much Cobra product in there as possible. Obviously, in the mini driver, don't have as much option.
Yes.
Ricky got one this year.
I did, yeah.
And
there is some sort of a prototype out there.
So
been on social media.
No clue yet whether there's going to be any movement on that.
Yeah.
You know, within the company or not. So we'll see. I'll wait and see. I let them know that I was interested. But also it's not a priority because I've got a golf club that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
You know, it's all good.
So after the mini driver and 3-wood, what do you? I know you have been playing some hybrids that you love. Are those still there?
I'm playing the second gen King Tech 2 and 4 hybrid. I keep a Strixon ZX 2 iron in the trunk for events where the wind is howling and I need something that I can really flight down. But it's only been in the bag 2 tournaments in the last 3 years.
Okay.
So very situational again there.
So again, a kind of the theme here of you like to have options for different conditions, different courses, different setups. So something that I imagine is pretty common for players at a top elite level like this, kind of swapping things out. So, okay, so now down to irons.
Yeah, King Tour Black.
King Tour Black.
I'm absolutely in love with my irons.
And was that a end of the year last year edition?
Yes,
like it was a new finish
in. What was it? It was in October.
Okay,
I switched.
So you're the same model all the way through.
Oh yeah, I went from the CBMB combo because I was having trouble with the wrist. I wanted something that was maybe just a little easier, and so went to the tours when they released the Black Edition. I love them. I'm going to get a second set. I'm going to actually have a backup set of irons. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever had a backup set of irons. So
okay,
yeah,
okay. So and then going away from the combo set too.
Yeah,
well, I guess with King Tour,
there's really no need. I actually have my plan is to pick up. I think it's going to be a King Forge Tech 4-iron. I haven't carried a 4-iron in like 15 years, but again, playing. I don't know if you noticed. Yeah, last year was windy.
Yeah,
and I played in a lot of wind. And 4 hybrid's great, but it is a pretty high launching golf club. Might not be the worst idea to have, like having a 2-iron, have a 4-iron to throw in to potentially take the 4 hybrid out just for those situations.
Yeah.
It would not be a club I would carry very often.
Right.
However, it might.
It could be an option.
It could be an option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So King Tour Black irons.
Yes.
Wedges now. I know you. I think it was milled grind 4.
Still in the bag.
Point? Okay.
Still in the bag. I've ordered a set of Cobras, and I've also ordered a set of Cleveland RTZs.
Okay, so that one is maybe subject to change soon.
Yeah, one of the two will go in. I'm a wedge hound. I love all the wedges. I mean, I used 3 sets of wedges in 2023. Not because I wore anything out. I don't practice enough to wear anything out, but because I just wanted to play these different wedges.
Yeah.
I like them all. So the RTZs are going to get here soon. The Cobras are still a little ways out just because of their launch dates. So we'll see. I'm gonna do some testing with both and see where I'm most happy. I've had a little bit of a hard time with Cobra wedges in the past due to their grinds and
they're a little kind of unique there.
Yeah, the new ones they have a new D grind called the Drop, and they're higher bounce, with a good bit of relief. So that's what I typically like. So
could be agreeable.
It could be very agreeable. So I'm giving myself a couple options to work with there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and I'm changing my lofts.
Oh, I know this has been a kind of a piece of, you've changed this a couple times, I think, before, but then I think you found something with mill grind 4 and you stuck to it. So
yeah, I felt like I needed 60 with the MG4. I originally had a low bounce 56 degree that I bent up to 58, stamped 58 on it, and I now actually technically need to stamp an X through it and stamp 60 on there because I did end up bending it up to 60. I need a 100-yard club, and I don't have a 100-yard club right now. I can't get the 60 that far unless it's downwind, downhill.
59 degree.
Still not going to get there. 58 will get there.
Okay.
So it's going to be, I'm going to go 52, 58.
Okay.
Be a little weird having a sand wedge at 52 degrees, but is what it is. I got to be able to cover these numbers. I need a 100-yard club. I like the idea of laying up to 100 yards. But when you don't have a club for it, it's stupid to lay up to 100
and you're
yards.
hitting a soft 54 or whatever, and
I mean, come on.
Okay, so does the model of wedges potentially up in the air? Milled grind 4 as of this moment,
yes,
is in the bag. But RTZ or Cobra could
RTZs will hit the bag in February.
Okay,
whether they remain in the bag,
TBD.
Long-term TBD.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and last but certainly not least is the putter. Do we want to remind the folks how many putters you used in 2023?
Yeah, I used 13.
13 different putters.
It's a badge of shame, I suppose.
Yeah.
That I wear way too proudly.
I think I can maybe contribute to that.
I was having a hard time, so it's not me. It's my equipment.
Yeah, it's not you, it's your clubs.
That'd make a great motto. Yeah,
yeah, it would.
So last year I had the first season where I've had really positive self-talk with the putter. And from September 23 until October of till November of 2024, I used an Odyssey Tri-Hot 5K number 7.
So that was over a year.
Yeah.
With one putter.
I like it so much, I bought another one. So I have 2 of them. I now, however, have a Makefield Defiant prototype in my bag.
So what is this? I mean, what does it look like? What is it?
What's
the design? Mallet blade?
It's a big blade.
Okay.
Like it's a mallet, but yet it's
We're
a blade.
talking like Answer 2D, or are we talking like bigger than that?
No, it's bigger than that. So it's about yay wide on the top line, and then it's got a couple prongs on the back.
Oh.
Now it's all about weighting. So there's 3 ports in each of the wings, and there's 3 weights in each
You
of
may
the
have
ports.
to take some photos, and then we can show those on screen, at least for the YouTube viewers right now.
Yeah.
So that they have an idea of what's going on, because I don't right now visually.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so it's a big blade mallet thing.
Big blade mallet thing.
Yeah.
It's a good way to describe putter.
Super stable.
Yeah.
It is super stable, and it feels good, and the ball jumps off the face, but it feels soft. Does all the things that I like with a putter. It's got a great new plumber's neck that they didn't have before I started whining about it. And so, yeah.
Okay. So, it's a lot to digest, because, again, I just don't know. My imagination is running wild right now. So,
yeah.
I'll need to get some photos
like
from
something out of Mad Max.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
But is the Tri-Hot still like a backup for you?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah. So if for
I
whatever reason,
could probably reasonably get rid of all my other putters and just have my 2 Tri-Hots and this one and be like, I'm good.
Maybe that would be a good step to take for your growth.
Man, you'd have to film that.
Getting rid of the putters.
Tears, as I let my Bobby Grace blade go.
Highest trade values in the industry. You trade them in and get some great sweet trade value from Second Swing.
Yeah, potentially could.
Yeah.
Potentially could.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that I get rid of comes through Second Swing. So,
right.
Unless I've got, buddies that need something, I try to help them out a little bit too. Yeah. But if I'm getting rid of it, it's everything comes through Second Swing.
Yeah. Well, so we've got the DS Adapt X driver. We've got TaylorMade Burner Mini with the swappability of the Callaway Elite 3-wood. You got the King Tech hybrids, potential ZX utility iron from Shrixon in there as well. If that could play. Potential 4-iron as well with the Forge Tech. And then your iron sets, Cobra King Tour Black. Wedges, as of right this moment, TaylorMade Build Grind, but it sounds like RTZ will at least get a trial run in the bag.
Yes.
Cleveland RTZ wedges. And then the putter, what is it again?
It's Makefield
Defiant. That's, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Makefield Defiant with the Tri-Hot on reserve.
Yes.
Ready to pounce that.
And
golf ball.
Pro V1X now.
You switched. That's right.
I'm making the switch. I want a little more height, a little more spin.
That's going to do it for you, Pro V1X.
Should. I've been averaging
that's what we've been
about
told.
400 RPM
we talked to
more
Scott
spin.
Cooper, project manager of R&D golf balls at Titleist.
Yeah.
At the PJ show, and that's exactly what he said.
It's soft enough now. That's been the key factor. Is I haven't liked the feel of the X. The new 25X is a little softer. Feels better.
There we go. So that's the whole bag. Well, as of the recording of this segment, that is the bag. Cannot guarantee that's what it is when this goes live. We will make any notes that are needed in the description if something has changed.
Yes.
But Kevin, thank you. That was fun. It's always fun to get what's in the bag because
it's always fun.
Yeah. So
we can just leave shaking our heads.
Yeah. Well, we wish you the best of luck throughout the year.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Certainly.
It's always a fun time.
It is.
And that was Kevin Kraft going through his bag. A lot of stuff that hasn't really changed actually much from last year or last time we went through his bag. But I think, he's fiddling with the putter again. He had a putter for the longest time. Now he's got something very unique in there. But yeah, I mean, we'll track him down in a couple months and it'll be completely different probably by that point.
Yeah, I'm curious to see which of those wedges actually made their way into the bag because obviously he had some Cobras coming, had the RTZs, and then played the Milgram 4s. So I'll be curious which ones stuck, which ones stayed in the bag.
Yeah,
made it past testing. Obviously, we've heard Kevin rave about Callaway Elite, especially in the fairway woods. So be interesting to see if those are still getting those numbers and still staying there. As irons hybrids, he kind of just went to something that's just slightly newer, same concept. So pretty mild for Kevin's standards.
Yeah. I mean, he's that's how he rolls. And I still I think my understanding is he's gonna still tournament by tournament have mini driver, maybe remove that for a 3-wood in some tournaments or a utility iron for some tournaments. So really he'll carry around 16 or 17 clubs and kind of make those decisions. But yeah, I mean, nobody's as dialed in the equipment game as he is. Nobody's testing more. I mean, I don't know if I get to see his Instagram posts where he'll go in the store early and just do some speed training sessions. And he'll post them and he's always testing stuff. He's as much of a nerd as anybody. So a lot of fun there. And speaking of just YouTube in general, we got some fun things coming down the pipeline. So this week, our Live at Lunch, we've got Tom Fisher from Titleist. I know you've said he's got that's your favorite accent that we have on the channel.
One of the best voices out there. Love that.
So Tom Fisher, we're talking about Titleist GT. We're gonna primarily talk about GT 280, their new mini driver, what their mission was with it. So that'll be a really good conversation. And we'll also just talk about how Titleist GT is really resonating with golfers. How it stacks up to TSR, and where Titleist goes from here. So. Also, we have our Fitters' Choice series that is going to start next week. So Fitters' Choice, our fitters got together, collaborated, and voted on their favorite clubs of 2025 so far. We're going to start that on Mondays, comparing some of the top winners in the survey results. And then also our Tour Van series from the Tour Van. We've launched this week. We had a highlight of Corey Connors, who also finished really highly, I believe top 10 at Augusta.
Time for 8th.
Yeah, and we got to watch firsthand Adam Harding from the Ping Tour truck build his driver from scratch right from the very beginning. So that was really cool. So those series will continue throughout the golf season. We have a lot of fun stuff planned for them.
Yeah, that Corey Connors build is really cool. It's just interesting to see how tour players, like how particular they are about specific things. If you go watch the video, pay attention to the hot melt and see how much they're putting in to the toe and to the heel there for, a specific feel, and then they have to swing weight it out, obviously. Really cool stuff. So especially if you're into, the club building and all that, like you'll really appreciate it. And then if you just want to see like what these tour players play and the steps they go through to get there, you're really going to enjoy that. On the second swing side, it's fitting season. Everything's pretty much out now. Obviously, the Masters is always kind of what we call the unofficial kickoff of golf season up here in the north. And, so, get your clubs dialed in, whether it's used, new, maybe you just need to tweak some loft lie angles, come in, get fit, make sure your game is set up for your best season yet. And if you're looking for new clubs, make sure you check out our best value sections. They're kind of awesome clubs at kind of unbeatable prices, always in great condition. We got plenty of options for you there. It doesn't matter what skill you are. So anything from Cobra Dark Speed, Mizuno JPX 923 forged and tour irons, Srixon ZX4 Mark IIs, ZX5 Mark IIs. Just lots of great stuff there to check out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of almost now is I mean, I know January and February launch time is really fun and hectic at times, but really fun. But this is also a really fun part now where all the launch stuff is out and, we can kind of see some of what rises to the top, so to speak, in terms of the fitting bays too. So that's kind of what you'll see with Fitter's Choice. And then, of course, for us, we get to start playing golf here soon with the weather and the courses.
Playing on Friday.
So you're darn right. So golfers, subscribe to the Second Swing Thoughts podcast and subscribe to the Second Swing YouTube channel. We appreciate you tuning in, listening, watching, however you consume our content. We really appreciate it. It helps us out a ton. Sean, until next week, right? The Second Swing Thoughts podcast. Make sure you stay tuned.